SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Jeep thrill seekers, listen up. Save $11,000 on select 2025 Jeeps at Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb. Conquer trails or streets in style for less. Hurry to Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep in Macomb because these deals won't last. Get yours now.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive.
You know, we're about 9 months into this now. Only official since February, but since last October, I've been spending most mornings with you on the radio. And I think yesterday was a first. I think I accomplished something for the first time yesterday. Richard Cross, Houston McDavid with me in Atlanta, the incomparable Lance Tolbert in the studio, making this all happen. I think, Lance, for the first time yesterday, I made you proud. I sent Lance a picture last night about, 7:30 or so Eastern time, 6:30 Central, and it was just of my plate. And there was nothing fancy on it. It was not a steak. It was not a piece of salmon. It was not a fancy appetizer. No, it was my what'll you have order. There were 3 chili dogs.
Oh, man.
An order of onion rings, a large Coke, and a small, actually even a kid's size FO, the old frozen orange. Mm. Now, as quickly, Lance, as I feel like I made you proud, because I'm not going to reveal your response, but it was affirmative. I feel like as quickly as I made you proud, I'm now going to disappoint you.
Oh, no. I was kidding with you about the fruit for breakfast.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I wasn't going to talk about the fruit breakfast. So I ordered the number 1, which is 2 chili dogs. Uh-huh. And the guy that was filling my plate, he looked at me while he was putting the chili dogs. He's like, he kind of gave me a wink, and he put an extra chili dog on there. That's great. I can't eat 3 chili dogs.
I was wondering if you took one to the house.
Not gonna.
Oh, man.
So I ate about a chili dog and a half. And it was kind of late in the day. There wasn't the onion rings weren't real crispy, so I ate a few of those. Had a little bit of I didn't eat it all. But my heart was my stomach was in the right place.
You inspired
probably
me.
There's probably nothing about that was good for my heart, actually, but my stomach was in the right place, Lance.
Hey, I appreciated it, too, because I actually was motivated after that. I was trying to figure out what I was going to eat for dinner. And I said, I'm inspired now. That really was an amazing picture.
So you went to Sonic?
No, I went to Dairy Queen and got 2 chili dogs with onions and mustard, and then a large onion ring. I got a Butterfinger Blizzard, and then had a nice belly full of sweet tea at the house. So
there you go. Yeah, so not only am I responsible for the clogging of my own arteries, I am now responsible for yours as well. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely right down my alley, though. So I was like, man, this is my guy right here, dude. Goodness, I'll go to battle with him now.
Good morning. We are coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Final day of SEC Media Days. You got Missouri, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Kentucky here today. Those are the 4 teams that will be making headlines-ish. Probably not as many headlines today, if we're being honest, as the last few days. But I know the folks in Texas excited to hear from Texas A&M as they go into year 2 of the Mike Elko era. But it's a little quieter here this morning. As I was walking in, there were not as many people. And you got some of the folks who have already packed up their bags and hit the road and ready to really get into that countdown to football season. Love hearing from you, and the best way for you to connect with us is on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. Every sports fan can tell you fast speeds win games. It's why C Spire brings you fiber home internet, nationwide 5G wireless, and IT solutions that move as fast as your business. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. It appears, at least in North Mississippi, as if it is going to be another smoker. Sunny, few afternoon clouds, stray thunderstorm possible in Pontotoc today. 94 degrees for your high, winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Carrollton, you're bumping up against 97 today, except for a few afternoon clouds. Going to be mainly sunny, stray showers possible. A little bit different when you get farther south in the state, though. Bay Springs, hot, humid, high near 90. Some clouds and some early showers likely in the afternoon. Thunderstorm possible, high of 89 degrees today. 90 degrees, like I said. And chance of rain about 60% in Bay Springs. Liberty, you're going to start out with some showers probably early. Clouds early, maybe showers in the afternoon. Thunderstorm possible, 89 degrees. 70% chance of rain, locally heavy rainfall. Now, we're going to get into the forecast for Central and South Mississippi coming up in a little bit. But just know that that system in the Gulf looks like it is going to produce a lot of rain. Lance, looking like it's going to be a wet weekend for Jackson South.
Yeah. When did they start naming things like 94T and stuff like? I don't remember that. In the weather. As they named the hurricanes.
We just didn't. I think we didn't talk about them at this point.
I figured they always did.
There's a disturbance in the Gulf. I think internally the folks at NOAA and the National Weather Service probably had names for stuff like that.
Code talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that yesterday. It looked like a nasty one, too, man. It's sitting right there in the low spots, just spinning around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be wet.
So it could go from Invest 93L to Dexter.
Okay. Dexter, that sounds terrible. I mean, given the HBO show.
Yeah.
If I want to name a hurricane after that guy.
John Jacob Astor was born on this day in 1763. The first multimillionaire in the United States. Made his family fortune as an American businessman, merchant, real estate mogul, and investor. Born in Germany, lived in the United States.
Although that was polite. An American investor and businessman, yeah.
Well, he had a fur trade monopoly where he exported opium into the Chinese Empire and then invested the proceeds into real estate or around New York City during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. First prominent member of the Astor family. His son, John Jacob Astor IV, died on the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny because we're going to get to an event, something that historic happened on this day in just a little bit. And Lance, I'm not sure that there is quite as much that separates John Jacob Astor and Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, as some might like to think.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was going with that, yeah.
It was a noble cause when it was in the 1700s, and now it's,
they had to get that opium.
Evil.
They had to export that opium,
Yeah.
Somebody had to
Maybe
do
the
it.
difference is Astor was only indirectly involved with this, while El Chapo was just 34,000 is what he's accused of.
Oh, goodness.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland, born on this day in 1935, passed away in 2024, the Canadian actor that gave us Kiefer Sutherland. He was part of the Dirty Dozen, the film MASH, Ordinary People, and the Hunger Games films. Talented actor. The pride of Forest City, Arkansas, was born on this day in 1942. Not to mention one of the greatest people I have ever known.
Isn't he?
Don Kessinger, baseball shortstop, first with the Ole Miss Rebels, then with the Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, and the Chicago White Sox. Six-time All-Star, Gold Glove winner twice in 1969 and 1970. A multi-sport All-American at Ole Miss. And as I said just a minute ago, an All-American guy as well.
Yeah, he could pick it a little bit, too, in his time.
Oh, man.
I love listening to some of the stories he would tell and back in the day. And then to have two boys that were just great ball players and as well great people. Says a lot about a major leaguer like that, and Don Kessinger. Just wonderful people, the whole family. Love them all.
Beautiful family. Just an absolute beautiful family. I feel bad, not really, but because he's been asked the question a million times, but did a long sit-down interview with him a few years ago, and I said, do you ever let your mind go as to, if you were playing in today's era, what your value would be, he goes, occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally.
Said, might not be selling houses at this point in life. No, you look at the career that Don Kessinger had, and he would have been a $200 million career earnings guy. With a career that spanned, 18 years?
Yeah.
Just
a
lot of money.
He would have made some bank, that's for sure. Heck, I might have even made a couple bucks in NIL in college.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably about
two
or
three
bucks,
Camilla Parker Bowles, born on this day in 1947. She is the British wife of King Charles III, Queen of the United Kingdom, born in London, England. And she's not Diana. Oh, Kit, tell me about it. David Hasselhoff, born on this day in 1952. Knight Rider, Mitch on Baywatch, born in Baltimore, Maryland. We'll grab you a couple of more birthdays and give you some historical facts when we come back. Just getting started. Good morning. Mornings of Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi, with you.
How can we go? Right behind this woman, right behind some more.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Wake up, get up, and start your day right with Mornings with Richard Cross here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Well, I ain't superstitious, but a black cat is crossing my trail. Well, I ain't superstitious, black cat, I'm crossing my trail.
Great to be with you as you start your day on this Thursday morning, the 17th of July. Thanks for joining us, Richard Cross. Mornings with Richard Cross. Houston McDavid helping me out here in Atlanta, GA. Lance making it all happen right there in the capital city. Lance, I felt the need to double-check myself so as not to slander anyone. I thought this was right. While the issue is complex and debated, Princess Diana herself, prior to her death, reportedly indicated that Camilla was not the sole reason for the breakdown of her marriage to Charles. Royal expert Ingrid Seward shared that Diana believed it wasn't Camilla that ruined our marriage, it was the people around Charles. I don't know, the ones trying to cover up the relationship with Camilla, but I digress. However, Diana's famous interview and suggestion that there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded, suggests that Camilla's relationship with Charles did indeed contribute to the breakup of their marriage.
Ooh, yeah. The
Cat
Royals
was having an affair for a decade.
Yeah, the Royals, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
And Diana
people.
was kind of a boss, too.
Oh, yeah.
People love her. Princess Di. Anyway.
You don't hear about, there's not near as much love bestowed upon Camilla than there was Diana. Because she was the home wrecker.
It has gotten better over time. People are just like, it's Camilla.
They're used to it by now.
Kind of feel sorry for her. I mean, she has to measure up to Di anyway. So, Mark Burnett, well, you talk about a successful television producer. He's 65 years old today, born in 1960. He is the producer of The Apprentice, Survivor, and Shark Tank. What do you think the mailbox money checks are like for that guy? Like, never mind, just what he gets paid to produce the shows, but a lot of those are in syndication. Yeah. You'll catch old episodes of The Apprentice, all kinds of previous seasons of Shark Tank.
I can't imagine dealing with those hosts' personalities would be the easiest either. So, yeah, you're probably getting paid a pretty nice bank for that, just to handle that, to herd those cats.
Yeah, what a creative guy, though. And Luke Bryan, American country singer, 49 years old today. Not only is a singer, but a television personality. Been on American Idol since 2018, born in Leesburg, Georgia. Speaking of the Royals, on this day in 1917, King George V changed the name of the British royal family from German Saxe-Coburg-Gotha to Windsor. Seems like it was a good decision.
It rolls off the tongue a little easier.
I mean, would you rather be Sir Lance of Windsor or Sir Lance of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha?
It depends. What's the paycheck like? I'll take
You want to be
one,
Windsor.
Yeah, I want the one with the most money.
On this day in 1941, Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak came to an end in the city by the lake, Cleveland. It's the longest hitting streak in Major League Baseball history, has stood for over 80 years, and is considered one of the most unbreakable records in baseball. Joe DiMaggio's 56 games in 1941, the longest streak. Second longest, 45 games, 9 fewer. That's held by Willie Keeler, but it happened back 1896 and 1897, so it even stretched across 2 seasons. Next
count?
closest, the one in only recent memory, 1978, when Pete Rose hit in 44 consecutive. By the way, I was off on the math. It was 11 shy for Keeler. Pete Rose 12 shy of the record at 44 games. Just for a little perspective, Chandler Simpson of the Tampa Bay Rays currently has the longest hitting streak in Major League Baseball at 16 games. 56 in a row, man. That is an entire college baseball season.
Well, you think, too, I mean, as a guy that played a little baseball, hitting is not easy to begin with. I mean, what, 27%, 28% usually success rate is pretty strong. But,
yeah,
getting a hit over almost 60 games in a row, I know that is probably one of the hardest things that you would ever accomplish in any sport because of, the numbers prove it. That has to be one of the hardest things to do in any level of sports right there.
Yep.
Has to be.
Joe D could swing it. He could absolutely swing it. 1995 was the first time that Bill Gates was recognized as the world's richest man with a net worth of $12.9 billion. It has gone up since then. Divorce kind of knocked him back a little bit. Also giving a bunch of money away with the giving pledge has knocked him back a little bit. There are some people that say that might not be as noble as he has made it out to be. Alas, I'll let you decide for yourself. And on this day in 2019, El Chapo finally recaptured. Did you realize that he escaped from jail not once but twice?
Oh, yeah. Dude, slipperier than a greased pig.
Drug cartel head Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years in New York. Mexico finally said, we've had enough. We're going to extradite you. We're going to let them take care of it. He has not been out since 2019. Former leader within the Sinaloa cartel, Guzman is believed to be responsible for the deaths of over 34,000 people, was considered to be the most powerful drug trafficker in the world until being extradited to the United States and sentenced to life in prison plus 30. He is currently being held in so they have maximum security prisons, and then they have Supermax, and then they have Ultramax, and then they have whatever it is that he's being held in.
Yeah, they put you like under the ocean in a box, feed you through a tube.
He's about 100 miles south of Denver, about 40 or I think it was 40 miles or so south of Colorado Springs, out in it's part of the United States prison system. ADX, was that the name of the? Man, I read a lot about this last night. It was really interesting. I find myself sucked into the not the glamorized versions of this. Yeah, he's at ADX Florence Supermax in Colorado. Sentenced to life plus 30 years. That was part of the extradition agreement, though, is he couldn't be put to death. Like, if he was found guilty for homicides, he could not be put to death in the United States, and I guess we agreed to do that. We didn't want to see him running around and controlling things anymore.
Well, I mean,
the first escape from prison was in a laundry cart. He just paid everybody off. The second escape from prison was through a tunnel, and he really wasn't in prison all that long. It was only about a year and a half, and they ran a tunnel 1.5 kilometers. It was like 0.9 miles into a neighborhood. It was 10 to 15 feet below ground, 5.5 feet tall, 30 inches wide, and it shot right up under the shower in his cell bathroom.
Yeah, he's 5'6". That was a perfect fit.
Yeah. And it was wide enough for a motorcycle in the tunnel as well. Get stuff in and out.
Well, and, he got brought down by his two right-hand men. Was it Jay and Pete Flores, or I think that was
I don't remember.
That was they decided to turn him in. I mean, that was the first go-around because they were done with it. They were big drug traffickers as well, his right-hand men, and they decided they wanted to have a family and a life, and so they felt.
How'd that work out for them?
Don't know. I haven't checked in on them in a while, so.
Probably not around to be checked on.
Yeah, don't know about those guys. I think they're probably in witness protection somewhere or 6 feet under, one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Seems more likely. Tropical trouble may be on the horizon for the Mississippi Gulf Coast, according to emergency management officials. MEMA tells us that a tropical disturbance will move over the Gulf starting today. That was actually yesterday's report, continuing through the remainder of the week. Some areas could see several inches of rain over a short period of time. Invest 93L could eventually turn into Tropical Storm Dexter and move through Florida back into the Gulf, and they were keeping a close eye on it. According to Fox Weather, which has a meteorologist stationed in Biloxi, the system's movement back into the Gulf means it could intensify and become more organized. Flash flood warnings are already in place along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, all expecting up to 7 inches of rain from Wednesday through Saturday, and some of that heavy rain expected all the way to the central part of the state of Mississippi. So heads up on that. We'll try to keep an eye on that for you as well. 7 inches of rain.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
That is a deluge.
It is. A partnership between Southern Miss and Integer Technologies, research and development tech company, is bearing fruit. Southern Miss announced yesterday that the partners were recently awarded a $25 million ceiling contract. The funding will go toward the development of maritime software for the U.S. Navy, specifically to increase the military branch's seabed warfare capabilities. Researchers and developers with both Southern Miss and Integer will work to improve the data collection ability of unmanned vessels by boosting their decision-making capability and allowing them to better identify seafloor objects. Integer joins a growing new group of defense tech companies, Ocean Aero, Skydweller, Aero, that are putting down roots on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The office will be housed in the Roger Wicker Center for Ocean Enterprise at the Port of Gulfport. I thought that was a really cool story. Take a time out. Back with you. Mornings of Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi, after this.
From the you're waking up to what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross. Right now on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Yo. I scared you, didn't I, Lance?
Definitely.
Sorry. Houston and I were having a conversation during the break, and I think he didn't want to bore you with it, so he turned my mic down, and then, oops.
Uh-oh, what's going on here?
Houston, the last thing I heard coming out of break was, "Can you hear me?" I do now. I do now. Alrighty then.
Alrighty.
Have you seen this out of Jackson? A new ordinance was proposed to the Jackson City Council that would limit or ban the use of ski masks or shiesty masks in the capital city. There we go. Now we're cooking. Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade stood before the council during the weekly meeting to plead for their help in building this ordinance. The chief explained to the council more people, primarily young men, are donning the masks as of late. He said this, that especially in South Jackson, they have young men riding bicycles with shorts and no shirts and a ski mask. And the whole point, you may remember the story from a while back that City of Jackson invested in some facial recognition software that was being used in a number of places where they had camera locations. Well, guys that want to do bad things or at least want to stay off the radar recognize, all right, they can see my face on a camera. What should I do? I should wear a ski mask when it's 90 degrees and they can't see my face. Wade said the proliferation of mask wearing is partially in response to that facial recognition technology in public spaces. Other cities like Philadelphia, New York, Atlanta, and D.C. have issued restrictions on masks only to have some of their own ordinances repealed over First Amendment concerns. Yeah.
Over First Amendment
I don't know if you
concerns.
know this or not, but when there's bad stuff that's happening, sometimes you got to step on people's toes just a little bit. I am not advocating for the ignoring of First Amendment rights. I'm not sure that intentionally wearing a ski mask when it's 90 degrees outside to avoid facial recognition technology is exactly what the founders had in mind when they talked about First Amendment and protections through freedom of speech and freedom of expression.
And that was my question. So, it was freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Expression, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, but freedom of expression is an extension of freedom of speech, the way that it has been defined.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, Rudy Giuliani's policies in New York City got rolled back. Stop and frisk. Why'd they get rolled back? Because you're racial profiling. Do the numbers say whether or not this is working? Well, yes, Mr. Mayor, they do. Crime is way down in the city. Sorry for the profiling. You're welcome for the safer city. But let's put this what do we call it? Like a socialist communist? Is that Democrat socialist? What is it? No, Bernie Sanders is a Democrat socialist. This is like a Mandami
Mad Manny
communist, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, socialism, you can call it whatever you want, but I mean, it's just a starter course for communism. So, I mean, you got to kind of go there first, So.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he's a communist. I mean, that's definitely the.
Yeah, a couple other news items for you. Maureen Comey looking for a job, the daughter of the former FBI director, James Comey. He's a cat. And prosecutor in the federal cases against Diddy and Epstein, two people familiar with the matter, told the AP she is out. Everybody says just a really, really poor job in the Diddy prosecution. There was prosecutorial overreach, I believe was the term that we heard again and again, which is when you're trying to get a Lance, it is you are in a tie game in the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 outs. I'm sorry, not with 2 outs. With only 1 out. And you have the bases loaded. And you're ahead in the count 3-1. Or even 3-0. And all you need is a sac fly to win the game. Or a ground ball to the right side. Or a base hit. You don't need a grand slam. You know what else would win you the ball game? A walk. So what do you do on 3-0? You take a big old swing. Well, why'd you do that? You swung at ball 4. That would have been game over. Oh, because you wanted to be a hero and hit a grand slam. And then on the 3-1 pitch, while trying to hit a grand slam, you get on top of it and you roll one over to the shortstop, and it's a routine tailor-made 6-4-3 double play, and you go to extra innings, and you just don't win.
Well,
and that's what happened. She just didn't win. They tried too hard.
They went after
tried to do too much, tried for a grand slam, and they ended up just getting a little
transportation to engage in prostitution. That's what they got him on. Not the sex trafficking or the racketeering or anything else. Bribery.
Like they got a tie.
They got a big toe.
Your sports headlines are brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Visit them online at pearlriverresort.com, your destination for casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment. Pearl River Resort. Good news at the end of a really sad story. You remember John Elway and his friend and agent were in a golf cart, Jeffrey Spurbeck, back in April, and Spurbeck fell out of the golf cart and he hit his head and he died? Well, the Riverside County Sheriff's Office has said in a statement that they found no criminal intent and ruled it a tragic accident. Case will be documented as an accidental death. Spurbeck, Elway's partner and former agent, died after suffering an injury when he tumbled out of the golf cart driven by the former quarterback on April 26th at the Madison Club in La Quinta, California, just east of Los Angeles. Cause of death, blunt force trauma, and the manner of death, an accident. Elway at the time said, "There are no words to truly express the profound sadness I feel with the sudden loss of someone who has meant so much to me." I'm glad that what they ruled was it was an accident and everybody can move on. And I mean, I guess you got to do your due diligence, right? This was a couple of buddies, though, at the golf course have been hanging out, and maybe there was a turn that was taken that was too sharp, or maybe somebody got off balance and fell out of the golf cart. Stuff happens. But just
life is fragile, too, you know. You never know.
Isn't that the truth?
You just never know.
Michael the Grinder Mizrachi can finally add the title of World Series of Poker main event winner to one of the most prolific resumes in professional poker playing history. Captured his 8th World Series bracelet, tying him for 5th most all time. First time he's done it in the main event. Took home $10 million out of a pool of almost $91 million. He won the final hand with a club flush that included a 4, which is his lucky number. He said, "My lucky number's 4. I'm 44 years old. My favorite hand is a pair of 4s. This was all meant to be." They went from the start of the final table to the end pretty quickly. It took just 80 hands to get through it, all fewest since 2015. The Open is underway in Northern Ireland, and we'll take a quick peek at the leaderboard. Jacob Skov Olesen, never heard of him, 4 under par. Hao Tong Lee, never heard of him. He's also 4 under par. Okay. Yeah. Here's one, Lee Westwood. I recognize that name. He is 3 under par through 14 on his round. John Rahm is 2 under. Also, Scotty Scheffler, 2 under par. They are through 8 holes. Phil Mickelson goes out and shoots a 1 under par 70. So, lefty, fairly competitive. A lot of guys on the golf course. You want to watch the Open? You may do that on the USA Network. It was the most openly looking Open this morning when I flipped on the television.
Yeah, there's no trees.
Gray. It was windy. There was a chance of rain. And I saw Scotty Scheffler, he just needs to hit a little bump shot into the hill and let it release up to the flag, and he leaves it a little short, and it comes trickling back down the false front. And I'm like, yes, Open golf. I love it. Absolutely love it. Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. Pretty good stuff there.
It's a beautiful course. Not a lot of trees around it other than the clubhouse, and it looks like there'd be a little wind, challenging conditions.
You want one more golf story?
Yeah.
I think I can entertain you with this one. Wyndham Clark, former major champion, he threw a temper tantrum, a hissy fit, after a poor round at Oakmont, which was the site of the U.S. Open just a few weeks ago. And when I say a hissy fit, I'm not talking verbal. I mean, he tore up the locker room. Right? I mean, that happens from time to time in baseball. It happens from time to time in football. Not really supposed to happen in golf, where you take a club to a locker and you just start ripping, especially in a place like Oakmont. This is not your local muni. They've been doing some internal investigating, and Oakmont said Wyndham Clark is no longer welcome. In fact, he is banned from Oakmont Country Club, which, by the way, hosts another U.S. Open in 2033. He said they could potentially revisit the decision if he paid for the damage, made a large gift to a charitable organization, and went through anger management classes. Then the board would review a request for being, once again, welcomed to Oakmont Country Club. Sports Update brought to you by Pearl River Resort.
From the Venable Glass Traffic,
Mississippi. From South Haven to Scuba, it's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Once again today we'll have coverage from SEC Media Days one last time. Arkansas, Texas A&M, Missouri, and Kentucky are the final four teams to take center stage here in Atlanta. Coverage on Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you and presented by Pearl River Resort. Visit them online at pearlriverresort.com. By Trustmark Bank, by Cannon Ford Lincoln in Starkville, Cleveland, and Pascagoula. By Covington County Hospital, by Mississippi Farm Bureau, and by Genteel Apparel, the official apparel provider of Sports Talk Mississippi. Later today on In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, you will hear an interview with Mississippi filmmaker Clark Ritchie. In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, presented by Superior Catfish. Remember, there's catfish, and then there is Superior Catfish U.S., farm-raised catfish with homegrown flavor. Ask for it by name at your favorite store or restaurant. And go to SuperiorCatfish.com for more information. A look at the lottery. You had Powerball. Did we do it again? This was the $50,000 winner from a couple of days ago. So a couple of days ago, you had a Mississippian. Got 4 of the 5 balls right, plus the Powerball, won $50,000, had the multiplier, and so doubled it from 50 to 100. Next drawing coming your way Saturday night. No winner last night. $288 million. The take home, the estimated cash value is $130,600,000. Yeah, buddy.
I'll be taking all
that pot is getting right.
You think it's going to hit for them? Is it going to be a summer winner, you think, on this? A $300 millionaire?
Lance, I feel like we're due for one of these big ones. You know, you get to that 300, and then about 4 days later, it's jumped to 400 because people's interest has peaked. Then you get to 500, a couple of days later, and then all of a sudden, people really start paying attention. You get that thing up in the $700, $800, $900 million range, where the cash value is about $450 million. Now we are talking about a pile of dollars.
Well, and sands of time, when it hits that $300 million, he starts rolling out the cash. So he's looking at this with a salivation, going, "It's going to be my time." Yes. Plus, he lives up there like in Ohio. Don't they win? I mean, like California, Ohio, and people like that.
Ohio's one of those states where there's some winners.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Need a big Mississippi winner.
we had the Virginia winner not too long ago. Maybe we're going to get. Tennessee's had a couple. We're going to get a big Powerball or Mega Millions winner in Mississippi one day, and I will try to be generous with the money when I get it.
Yes, well, thank you. There are us little people out there, thank you, Richard, for keeping us in your mind.
We're going to put you in a brand new FJ.
I'll upgrade. I want a V12 or something, I had like a V10 Magnum once, one of those Dodges, and, man, you could pull a house with that thing. So
that's
I think when I ever go up out of the FJ, I don't know if I'll ever want to sell it. It's like one of those you want to keep, but whenever I go up, I want to go back to something where I can pull basically an 18-wheeler behind me,
Oh, so you want a Ford F-150?
Yeah, well, I'd take the F-350, the double dually version. Yeah, let me have that.
All right.
No, but seriously,
in from the sizzling summer cash bonus promo. It was yesterday. $15,000 to a winner in Hattiesburg, $10,000 to a winner in Aberdeen, $5,000 headed to Greenwood, $500 for winners in Philadelphia, Brandon, Quitman, Vicksburg, Cherokee, and Cherokee, Alabama. Only one sizzling summer bonus drawing left. That's Wednesday, July 30th. Supersized cash prizes up to $25,000. Got to be a lottery insider for that, and you can do that at mslottery.com. David McRae is going to join us this morning in the 7 o'clock hour, the state treasurer. There is some new stuff that is in place if you want to claim unclaimed property. Now, we've talked about that in the past, the unclaimed property deal, and I have a personal example that I want to ask him about because, Lance, I don't know if scammer is the right way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is someone who has been incessantly texting me about someone else who has a potential significant amount of unclaimed property. And, man, they've gotten testy with me about it.
Is that Nigerian Prince guy? If so, yeah, he's for real.
No, I think it's because my name and another name have been perhaps associated with a former place that I lived. I think that's what's going on. Because it's like there's just enough familiarity for me to be like, is this completely a scam?
I could find anything on you if I had the right software. Anything.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure you could. I'll just tell you, man.
It's already right there.
Ask. Yeah. I'll let you know. I mean, kind of an open book. All right, 6 o'clock hour in the books with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. News is next.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Want to know what's happening in Mississippi politics?
Yes.
You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
That's the way you spell
Chicago. A knife and a fork, well, and a plate of green.
Final day from Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia, I think, is the name of the state where we sit right now. Mornings with Richard Cross. Been on the road this week at SEC Media Days. Been fun. A little bit different venue. I don't think this show has changed much during the course of the week. It's been great to be with you. I will tell you this. Yesterday afternoon, Lance, you'll get a kick out of this. I was just going outside to get some sunshine. It didn't feel great. It was cold. Wanted to walk outside for a second. I think I just got kind of a cold that has lingered. And I'm not going to call this guy out by name. I don't want to protect the innocent or the guilty or however. He goes, hey, man. He said, what are you doing tonight? I was like, I don't know, probably not much. He goes, do you like karaoke? I said, I'm going to tell you what I'm not doing tonight is karaoke. That's not happening. So he just came through a second ago. I said, that's not my speed, even if I was feeling great. But thank you for the invitation. He just walked through a second ago, and I said, how was that karaoke, pal? He goes, you made a good decision. I said, well, there was no real decision to be made. But
I'm not a karaoke.
He said, I woke up this morning and was like, what did I do?
Well, those are fun mornings, yeah. I'm just not I'm not a karaoke person, but, yeah, I could have enjoyed the other festivities. But does Georgia, it's been a little while since I've been over there. Are they still known for their carpets and rugs still? They always had the peaches, but they were also known, like Dalton, Georgia and all that. It was like big rugs and carpet area,
I don't know, man. Big state.
Big state. I just didn't know if you were bringing back a house full of new carpet and rugs or anything. You didn't do that while you were there.
No, not really planning on it.
Yeah.
If I happen to pass a peach stand on the way out of town, I might pull over and grab a few fresh peaches.
You got some peanuts down there in the southern part of the state. I remember riding through there. That was just peanuts as far as you could see.
Yeah. Mornings with Richard Cross. Glad to be with you. The 7 o'clock hour of the show each and every day is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Find them online at MWGEmployerServices.com. If you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you and only you, or is specifically for you. Give them a call, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. You remember yesterday we talked a little bit about what Donald Trump was proposing in the state of Texas, the redrawing of some of the district lines. And Gavin Newsom decided to jump into the fray just a little bit, and Gavin was like, two can play that game. And then we gave you the information that probably would be harder to do in California because there was a constitutional amendment that put together an independent commission that is supposed to set the districts, the voting districts. And we get a report this morning. Lance, you sent it to me just a little while ago that Gavin Newsom appears to be going forward with the idea of adding Democratic congressional districts, or likely Democrat congressional districts, before the midterms in 2026. California Governor Gavin Newsom seeking to add 5 to 7 Democratic congressional seats to the map by redistricting before 2026 in response to Texas. Democrat lawmakers say if Texas goes, we are going.
A little showdown.
My
here.
reaction? Yeah, my reaction, I don't know what yours is.
Yeah,
I hate it. No. I hate it. But I don't blame them.
Oh no! I mean, they're going to, as I said, and we've talked. Yeah, it's going to. They're going to pull out every stop possible at midterms here. That's what it's going to work.
But they're not pulling out a stop out of thin air in this case.
Well, I mean, California does have.
They appear to be pulling out a stop as a counter to the stop that the Republicans pull.
Mm-hmm.
And look, one of the things that if not for the fact that apparently it is not a constitutionally sound idea, I love the idea of a mid-decade census. Marjorie Taylor Greene she is pushing that. It's got a bill out there. And there's some support for it. But the Constitution says that the census is every 10 years for persons in the United States.
Yeah,
it doesn't say for American citizens in the United States. So if we're going to amend the Constitution, and I don't even know that I have a huge problem with that. The point of the census, though, while yes, it's twofold. Right? It's twofold. We need to know the population of the United States at a point in time for lots of reasons, but it's about assigning congressional districts.
Well, I mean, the law goes back to 1790, the law mandating a census every 10 years. So, I mean, things have changed since 1790. And quite frankly, a 10-year period now is probably like 40 years then.
Well, and that's the thing. Maybe what we really need to be doing is looking at a constitutional amendment, because here's the thing. Like, come up with Gavin Newsom, I would challenge you to this. Nancy Pelosi, I would challenge you to this. Benny Thompson, I'd challenge you to this. And any other Democrat that wants to come at me with an argument. Give me a cogent, rational argument for why congressional districts in the United States should be based on anything other than United States citizens. I will sit, I will wait, I will listen, and I think I will be sitting and waiting and listening a long time for a cogent, rational argument for that. You can argue that it helps you win elections. You can argue that we are the land of the free and the home of the brave, and bring me your tired, huddled masses, and all of those things you can argue. But ultimately, your only argument is more non-legal American citizens leads to more election wins for Democrats.
Sure. I mean,
that's the only actual argument that holds any water, because you can't come up with rationale for why you should base representation in the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives. And for that matter, it's the same reason that if you're illegal you shouldn't be able to vote. Why should the representative government be for you if you are not a citizen of ours? It doesn't make sense.
So if I broke into Russia illegally, should I be able to vote in their elections? Or if I broke into Israel or broke into China or broke into any place, should I be able to vote? And I bet no one out there would say, yeah, that sounds logical. Let's break into every country and just go vote and use their benefits and use everything. But, and never pay taxes, never do anything other than vote.
We're the only country in the world that allows.
So are we the only one that does this?
The only one in the world.
Sounds very logical.
Nobody else does this.
Yeah, very logical.
No. I mean, you can't do it in Mexico.
Can't do it anywhere.
You can't do it in Panama. You certainly can't do it in Cuba. You can't do it in Russia.
So what would, if we went and asked the representatives of Ecuador,
maybe in the United Kingdom,
you think maybe the representatives in Ecuador or Guatemala could probably give us a more cogent response than, say, the ones that you're challenging to come to us and say, hey, why is this okay? I bet somebody in some third world country could give us a better answer than what the leaders here will give you based on that.
I mean,
why is it okay? It isn't. But,
I would love, in a one-on-one, calm conversation with Hillary Clinton sitting right here at this table in Atlanta, a good blue city. She should feel comfortable here. Madam Secretary, explain to me why it is that we should have representation in Washington, D.C. that is based on anything but American citizens. Like, I hear the words coming out of your mouth, but I don't hear you saying anything because there is no justification beyond we want to be in power. We want to win elections. And here's the dirty little secret for you. Are you listening? You listening closely? Here's the secret. The majority of American citizens don't like current Democrat policies. Period. If you line up every American citizen, like if we had all of them in one place, and you said, all right, if you like the policies of Democrats, I want you to go on the left side of the room. And if you don't like the policies of the Democrats, I want you to go on the right side of the room. Guess what? American citizens only. There would be more people on the right side of the room. And that scares them to death. But is the Trump administration, and you know what? I'm not even going to lay it on the administration. Is Donald Trump in the process of screwing something up that has been really, really good? We'll talk about that coming up next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the ride. We're back after this.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome to the show.
We have a constitutional scholar on the C Spire text line this morning that wants me to show my bona fides, telling me, the reason. Let me read it directly, Lance. I love these. These are good. C Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. Your team has you covered on the field. C Spire has you covered everywhere else. With the best technology for home, work, and on the go. Backed by local 24/7 customer support. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. I can't decide if I'm feeling feisty this morning or if this is just like
last day of the
we're
week.
Just very level-headed. Yeah, I understand. No, I'm well with this. Here's the test. I can feel this being typed in a very high and mighty tone as well.
Here we go. Blood pressure's up.
No, mine's not.
Yours. I'm saying the poster, yeah.
In fact, I don't think I'm going to get wound up on this. I think I'm just going to be very matter of fact. The reason why it doesn't make sense to you, Richard, they didn't type Richard, I just added that for emphasis.
Like your mom was talking to you.
Is because you don't know history. The creation of the Constitution is the reason why we count all individuals when determining congressional districts. You guys probably still want a 3/5 compromise, don't you?
Ooh, goodness. Going deep.
Man, I mean, that was some historical finger wagging there at the end. Like, you probably think the 3/5 compromise is the way to go. I don't, and have never claimed. You want me to grab you a history scholar while he's just walking by? I'll grab one. My buddy Brett Norsworthy just walked by, and if you want to have a debate about the Constitution of the United States, I'll be more than glad to bring him in.
So we want to talk about the 3/5 compromise in 2025. I got you.
Yeah. By the way, you're not going to like how that goes. But just for a second, let me humor you a second. You don't know history, Richard. You don't understand why. No, I do understand that the population centers of the United States and revolutionary America were congregated in certain areas. And you didn't want to disenfranchise the people that lived in less populated areas altogether by only focusing on the areas that were highly populated, because you would have had every governor from Virginia, or every president would have come from Virginia. And then you got to a point where every president would have come from New York. And that was the goal, right? I mean, that's the deal. But I don't know if you know this or not, but it's not 1789 anymore. Yeah, just guys across the way from me just like looked at their calendar. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah, hold on now.
Is he talking about time or a year? Yeah, it's not 1789 anymore. And so, this is, by the way, a perfect illustration of the point that I was making just a little while ago. If you disagree, and we know that a Democrat perspective disagrees on this, if you can sit down and give me a rational, cogent explanation as to why a representative form of government in the United States should be based on anything other than the population of United States citizens, I'm all ears. But when your argument is you don't know history, you probably just want the 3/5 compromise,
I want to say
you have made my point for me.
I got to interject here
because
because
that's all you got.
You got a person sitting here talking about the 3/5 compromise, but talking about the $1.5 trillion in federal funding distributed every year to all these folks that need the money and in these districts, and without that they don't get the funding. Do you really think when the census was taken in 1790 that the federal government was subsidizing everything on the planet? I mean, is that where we are? We're talking about the 3/5 compromise. We're talking about today, $1.5 trillion goes here and there. But when this law was written in 1790, the federal government wasn't funding everything. So, I mean, you got to know your own history.
Now I got to interject with you and say, I got to address this.
Where's the history lesson here is what I'd like to know. What are you teaching us?
Here's the thing, though. If you come into a conversation midstream and you want to throw an accusation, you're going to find yourself looking dumb more times than not.
I mean,
like this message right here that says, I can't believe you're suggesting changing a document that has clear laid out plans on how to change it. See, if you had been with us from the beginning of this conversation, you would know that the very first thing that I said is, I don't think this bill that Marjorie Greene Taylor has put out there can move forward because I believe the Constitution says that the census is based on the population of all peoples, not just citizens. Like, that's where this whole conversation began, and then I followed it up with, perhaps it is time to look at a constitutional amendment that would change the way the census is done in the United States of America.
Yeah, I mean, considering that 1790...
And yes, if you are curious, how is it that you amend the Constitution? I don't think we're going to go the national convention route with state ratification on the backside of it. It's going to be 2/3 House, 2/3 Supreme, or 2/3 Senate. And boy, good luck on that ever happening.
Well, and number two, I mean, I want to say, in 4 years of Joe Biden, how many illegals crossed the border? Does anybody even know?
Well,
does anybody even know?
The first answer is we have no idea.
Right. So
the second answer is somewhere between 12 and 20 million.
There you go. So, let's just do that census every 10 years and pretend like nothing happens, fairly quickly these days. And that maybe we don't need to adjust something that was set in 1790 That's one problem you got here. Number two, why is it the federal government's job to give money to illegals? Why is it my job to subsidize people that broke into my country, don't pay taxes, send it home, rob, do all the stuff, use the roads, all that? Why is it my job? Because it's my taxes. The federal government doesn't run a business. They take your money. They leverage it. So why is it my job to pay for these folks? Based on the census? Is that what you're telling me? Because the census says I have to give my money. I guarantee it didn't say that in 1790.
So somebody says, because earlier I was like, hey, the census does a lot, but maybe the primary thing is about, assigning representation in government, in Congress. And that is, I mean, if you go to the Constitution, it says the primary reason for having a census is for the delegation of representatives in Congress. But somebody points out, hey, you brought it up, so here you go. What else comes as a result of the census? More than $1.5 trillion in federal funding distributed every year based on census data. Money that supports schools, hospitals, roads, disaster response. If non-citizens, such as green card holders and visa holders, are not counted, communities with large immigrant populations will be underfunded. These residents still rely on public services, but their communities would receive less support to meet those needs. Cities, states, and businesses also use census data to plan for housing, schools, public transportation, and infrastructure. It helps them forecast economic trends, et cetera, et cetera. Well, and to go back to Lance's point just a second ago, if you had some level of control over the influx of illegals and you knew he was here, I would even go so far with you on this idea of kind of restructuring congressional districts and census data. I would go so far with you as to say those who are in the United States legally but are not actual citizens, if you are here legally, even if you are not a United States citizen, you could and should and deserve to be counted for all of the services that are discussed here. 100%. I got no issue with that. No issue with that. But you tell me. You tell me. How do you sift? How do you sift between those who are here legally with green card status or temporary visa status or permanent work visa status? How do you sift between those and those who are just here because somebody didn't put the lock on the turnstile?
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
And hung a y'all come sign out 4 miles south of the border.
Yeah, isn't that the point, though, right? I mean, if you count everybody, you know who's supposed to be here legally based on visas, H-1, all that green card stuff, citizens. Then you subtract out the total, and you go, okay, well, we have 50 million people in this country that are illegally here. And if you did the census a little more regular, you may find that. You may actually see that you have 40 million people usurping the tax dollars of the hardworking Americans who need schools and roads and bridges and all this good old stuff, You want them to stay? Turn them around and send them home.
And 40 million people is equivalent to the size of the state of, California. Wait. Doesn't California have the ability to swing elections with the number of congressional districts that they've got? With their 52 congressional, 52 seats in Congress come from California. Population of 39.6 million people. And we've got 40 million illegals in the country? How many of those are in California? Back after this. Mornings with Richard Cross. David McRae joins us next. This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Find out what's happening across your state. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
It's just the hook, Lance. Just the hook, right?
That's it, baby.
Good to be with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. Thanks for joining us. C Spire text line is open. We'll get to more of your messages coming up. 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. David McRae is the treasurer of the state of Mississippi, and he's kind enough to join us in studio. Good morning, Mr. Treasurer.
Good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Good to be with you. I am interested in this new guideline that is in place for the claiming of unclaimed property. We've talked a lot about that with you. This website that you put in place for, overpaid taxes and utility bills, and, if Blockbuster credited your account all those years ago and you didn't know it, you can get the money back for your not rewinding fees. Whatever it is that's in there that's outstanding that the state has in its possession, you've made it very, very easy for people to reclaim their money, but now there is an exception.
Well, it's still easy to claim your money, but it's not going to be easy to claim your money if you're an illegal. The point is that we are the first state in the nation, and obviously the first treasury in the nation, to implement this. So from here on out, if you are an illegal immigrant, you cannot claim unclaimed money in our at the treasury, and we will make sure that doesn't happen. We are prioritizing Americans first, and we are prioritizing Mississippi citizens. Mississippi citizens pay my salary, and I think it is necessary we prioritize them. So what it is, you'll go to treasury.ms.gov. You'll see something, a little pop-up will pop up that says, are you a U.S. citizen? And if you click yes, you'll just continue to go on and claim your unclaimed money. If you click no, it'll just pop you right out. The reason why we had to do this, if someone...
All right, let me interrupt you just for a second. What if you lie?
Well, if you lie, then we'll know that when you put in a false Social Security number, we'll know that Social Security number does not belong to you, and
that's simple.
We will pop you right back out there and proceed, and tell the law enforcement officials of this.
Okay. So, very simple explanation. I just want to make sure. I mean, I'm assuming that clicking a button is not enough of a deterrent for some people to stop this process.
No.
All right. So. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're right. And, but we have backup security measures. And, we're doing this because over the last 4 years when Biden was president, we had an open border. Every state is a border state. And the borders along Texas and everywhere else, they were open. So we have roughly 25,000 illegal immigrants, according to Shad White, in the state of Mississippi. We had roughly 95% increase of illegal immigrants crossing the border during the last 4 years. So we had to do something. We had to find a way to do this, and we wanted to make sure the right money goes to the right people, not someone who is claiming to be somebody. The way I've always seen unclaimed money, Richard, is that it is a economic stimulus for the people of Mississippi. And if we're not giving it to the right person, then it's not an economic stimulus for the people of from Mississippi and the communities of Mississippi. And so we had to step in and do something, and this is what we came up with.
Yeah, we've talked about how great this program is and how simple it is. I don't think I've asked you about this. How ripe is this for fraud and for illegal activity in terms of going in? Because you're able to search by name, you're able to figure there's something outstanding there, and then you're supposed to be able to provide some proof of identification, I suppose, before you can get a check. How many issues have you had with fraud?
We have less than a percentage of fraud, which is well within the margin of where we want to be. But we have such a really complex background search, and we use several background research tools and information, and that's how we've been able to keep it below a percentage of fraud. And we just don't have that problem. And we're very good about checking. My employees are very good about checking and making sure it goes to the right person. And that's why we are doing this. I mean, we want to make sure that the right person is getting their money. I mean, I would feel awful and feel like I had not done my job if we are just sending money out willy-nilly to whomever thinks they are owed it and not being the right person. And with the legal immigrants, they will try to claim unclaimed money, and here we are. So I think this is the right step to take.
All right, I've got something I need to ask you about. So I have been getting text messages. I think this stems from a former address that I had, like being associated with a specific property address somewhere along the way. But it's asking about another person who has not claimed unclaimed property. And they're like, we want to help you with this. And the messages have kind of gotten testy about it. Are there companies that are out there that are scouring the Treasury website to find unclaimed property, people associated with them, reaching out to people by whatever means they've got to say, hey, we're going to help you, and then we're going to take a cut of it? Is that happening?
Yes. They're called finders. And what they do is they have a business, and they will try to they'll scour unclaimed money lists like ours or any other states, and they will just cold call people. And then they'll say, hey, we found money and you owe us, excuse me, and then they'll say you owe us X percent. Well, under the law of Mississippi, a finder can't charge you more than 10%. And also, we won't text anybody. We won't text anybody that they have unclaimed money. We may call you and we'll tell you who we are and you can go and look, but we will never force you to go ahead and claim that money right then and there. But there are people who are nefarious, and they will try to charge more than 10%. We've had someone call us and say, hey, somebody tried to say they found money for us, and they wanted to charge us 20% of what they found. I mean, these are just – they found a way – anybody will find a way to scam somebody.
All right, so good public service announcement there. 10% is the maximum that legally a finder can charge you to get you in touch with your money, which, by the way, might be worth it. I mean, there might be a finder that finds a $10,000 check out there that you had no idea existed, and worth $1,000 finder fee to them. But remember, you could have found it yourself if.
Well, I'm about to get in trouble with any finder who's listening, which I don't think they're not here. So I will say this as a treasurer, that if someone says you have unclaimed money, then just hang up on them and go to the website and do it yourself. And
check it out.
Not have to pay that percentage.
Yeah, but David, hold on now.
Yep.
I can do my own expense reports. But if I could pay somebody 10% to do expense reports for me, I think it would be worth it.
Well,
I hate the process. It's easy enough to do, but I hate doing it. And I wait so long that inevitably I forget about 10% of what should be reimbursed in there. And so, maybe it would make sense for some people.
I will say expense reports are a little bit more complicated than going on to treasury.ms.gov and typing in your name, your friend name, or whomever. I've got to give the website a couple plugs here. And, I've made it extremely easy. So when you're doing whatever you're doing in your time when you're by yourself or whatever, you can just go to treasury.ms.gov, type your name in, and I've made it extremely simple. Don't even need a notary anymore. And we will walk you through the process. We'll do it for you, and all you got to do is call us, and we'll take care of it.
Treasury.ms.gov. You had news a couple of weeks ago about $1 billion in interest savings for the state of Mississippi. Give us the rundown on that.
Yeah, coming from the private sector, I'm very proud of this. I'm proud of everything the Treasury does, but I'm exceptionally proud of this because of where I come from and my background. But over the last 5 years, we've made $1 billion for the state of Mississippi in terms of our investments. Last year alone, we made $420 million. And if you look at the economic climate of last year and the uncertainty of Bidenomics and everything like that, it's a massive accomplishment. And, with the tariffs, hopefully they're going to work out. But, there was a while that was kind of touch and go. But we as a state, that is a record for the state, and I will continue to invest our money in the ways we can continue to make more money. Because look, the way this works out is that we have $420 million we made last year, $1 billion over 5 years. That goes into the general fund, and we don't have to borrow money to do projects we want to do. This is going to go back into education, water, sewer, infrastructure, whatever the state needs, and we don't have to borrow money. And I think that's the big point of all this.
Not an exact number, and I'm assuming that it's a number that actually changes, it goes up and down as money comes in and out. But what about the principal invested? That $400 million is on How big of a principal?
I can't tell you that number because it changes so radically, up and down constantly because money's coming in, money's coming out constantly. We do $26 to $30 billion worth of transactions a day. So what I told you now just is obsolete information.
We got to go back to that. You said $26 to $30 billion in transactions a day on behalf of the state of Mississippi?
A year. A year.
A year. Oh, okay. That big difference there. All right. So that's a pretty significant range, but it is a big pile of money that you're working with. It gives you the ability, if you're investing it properly, to make significant gains.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Let's talk more about this on the other side of the break. David McRae, State Treasurer, Mornings with Richard Cross. We're back right after this with you.
From the Venable Glass
the White House to your hometown. This is where you find out what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Back with you. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi. State Treasurer David McRae is my guest. Don't forget about the Treasury website where you can go and claim unclaimed funds. You can also look into some college savings programs that are in place, treasury.ms.gov. I want to try to get to that in a second ago. I went through an uncomfortable exercise a couple of weeks ago, David. Mm-hmm. I started looking at cost of attendance at a number of schools. I've got a 15-year-old who is part of what was Impact. It's now the College Savings Program, Mississippi. And so if she stays in state, we're in great shape. If she stays out of state or goes out of state or were to go to a private school, whoo, brother.
I know. And that's just the federal rule. I mean, that's just how it works. The Impact program, I mean, I hate it. But, I want kids to go wherever they want to go to school, and I want, parents to be able to afford that. And, the whole point of these impact programs is to keep kids here in Mississippi. I mean, we constantly talk about the brain drain and the impact program.
Oh, and I'm not complaining about the program. But we're going to give her the opportunity to kind of look around. I think ultimately she probably will stay in Mississippi, but we're not going to push her to do that. But
is she going to come back to Mississippi is, I guess, the question.
I think there's a good chance, but we'll see. I don't know. I want her to if she spreads her wings, I hope she returns to the nest one day.
Well, good.
But we'll see where that goes. I want to go back to this investment. You were talking about $400 million, $1 billion over 5 years in investment returns for the state of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is probably complex to talk about on the radio, but I'm curious about some of the factors in this. Because I'm assuming that it's a little bit different than if you are investing your own money. You probably go with a more conservative strategy because this is the people's money of the entire state of Mississippi, and you certainly don't want to lose money in that scenario. So how conservative do you have to be, and how much does the rate of return change based on taking money out and putting it back into the general fund? So that $400 million doesn't make the principal grow the way it would in a private investment. That's going back into the general fund, and so it's not like compound interest can work the way it does maybe in your own portfolio.
No, and anyone listening today is like, oh, well, I can make more than that. Well, the rate of return for us was. Well, if you can, good work. And the rate of return is 4.2% last year. And you're right, it is ultra conservative on what we can do. I'm bound by the law on our asset allocation. It's mainly in super conservative things like fixed income, very little private equity, no emerging markets, domestic, some international, but it has to be able to be liquid fast, in case something has to be paid for. So, the best way I put it is like, think of like an insurance company that has investments and they had to pay out a ton of claims. They have to be able to get that money fast. So,
So you can't drop the state's nest egg into an index fund and just let it ride and see what happens and hope that, hey, this year it gets 13%.
Yeah, I wish I could, but I can't, and I'm not sure I would want to. I mean, these things are just very, very conservative, very, very, far more conservative than what I would do in my personal life or what my family does in their personal lives.
Yeah.
And for anyone listening, but yet a 4% return, hedge funds, when you make a 4% return, that gets you a private jet, I think.
Well, it does if you're running the hedge fund.
Yeah, I was about to say, for them.
A lot of the people that are investing in hedge funds want a little bit more than 4%, but I was looking at the national average, and it appears like the national average for state investment funds, state treasurers, is in the 3 to 7% range. So you're kind of in that middle ground of investment returns, which I think is a number that would make most people feel good and feel pretty confident about the way the state's money is being invested.
Well, and they should. I mean, I did not know that stat, and that's good to know. The thing is we changed a couple years ago when I first got here how our portfolio and asset allocation could work. And as soon as we did that, we started seeing an uptick on how much money we were actually making. Really what has worked the best for us, sadly, personally, I would wish these would go down, but interest rates being high as they are, that has helped us a ton on our investments and moving out of retail like department stores and everything like that and moving into industrial real estate, that's helped a lot. So being in the right place at the right time, researching and understanding trends, and that's really helped us as a state. But yeah, you're right. In terms of having money and cash on hand, that just, like I said earlier, it allows us not to borrow money as much as we would need to or at all. And it's just an extra $420 million in the general fund that we didn't have yesterday.
Is the legislature counting on that money, or is that bonus money?
It's bonus money. And most of them are very excited when they hear about it, so I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Okay. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Don't forget the website. If you haven't done a search for unclaimed property, it's worth it. It might be a $200 check. It might be a $2,000 check. It might be more than that. Who knows? There occasionally are some really big sums that are there. Website, give it to us one more time.
It's treasury.ms.gov. Go to the unclaimed money section, and if you're a U.S. citizen, click yes and proceed on your way.
Assuming you will be at the Neshoba County Fair here in a few weeks?
I will be there sweating as everybody else.
Like all the rest of us. Maybe we get one of those breaks. They don't seem to happen very often, but every great once in a while. David McRae, State Treasurer, thanks for coming in this morning.
All right, Richard, I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Always good to visit with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi, 8 o'clock hour with you. Coming up next, we'll start things off on the ceasefire text line and try to dive into a few other stories. And we'll also chat with Brian Hadad. Mississippi State was here yesterday at SEC Media Days. News is next.
Your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Silence from the cooking pot, mixing up with the air.
Welcome to the final hour of the week for Mornings with Richard Cross from Atlanta at the SEC Media Days. We're at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. Glad to be with you. Love to hear from you. The best teams know how to get it even better. That's why Ceasefire constantly enhances their wireless, fiber internet, and business solutions for you. Visit ceasefire.com today. Ceasefire, inspired by you. The number for the Ceasefire text line is 601-879-4395. Love to hear from you this morning as we continue to roll through the show. This is the last day of SEC Media Days. You've got 4 teams that are here today. Kentucky and Missouri in the morning session. The afternoon session, Arkansas and Texas A&M. SportsTalk, Mississippi. I don't know where the hiccups came from, Lance.
I love it.
That's going to make this a challenge.
I was just bragging to my buddy here in the building about, I had to show him your picture you sent me last night and created such motivation in my culinary desires. And he was like, oh, my God, if I'd have seen that, I'd have gone and had to get chili dogs, too. So maybe it's 3 or 1.5 chili dogs.
Speaking of motivation, Monday is my start day.
For
no
more chili dogs?
Stop eating like crap and get the exercise going. I I'm carrying a few extra pounds than I need to, and that's got to go. And I can usually start that process and stick with it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I just kind of fall back into old bad habits. You gotta hold me accountable.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to say
maybe all of you listening need to hold me accountable as well. What would you like? I'm not going to tell you about. Oh, guess what? Today I went to CrossFit. Today I went to Shed. Today I went to Orange Theory. I'm not going to do that.
You don't have to do all that stuff. Just eat salad for about 3 weeks. You'll be fine. Just don't eat anything good for you. That you normally would consider good, like a pizza or hamburgers and Cokes, and just drink water and eat salads for a couple of weeks, and you'll be fine, man. Fast.
Eliminate a bunch of the carbs.
Yeah. Just start there. Don't go too big.
Really like to eat.
Yeah, don't make it a mountain though. Just go get you a big old thing of lettuce and some fresh stuff out of the market and eat it for a couple weeks until you get tired of it, and then your appetite will have shrunk a little bit too. So it works every time. I can promise you. Hey, one thing about the Treasury. While I was sitting here, while y'all were talking in the last segment, which is like 5 minutes, I was able to go out on the Treasury's website and fill out the unclaimed property. I had 3 of them out there. I gave up on this process 6 years ago, probably. It was too cumbersome. Didn't want to deal with the notary. Didn't have my birth certificate or whatever. But this is so much easier. I was bragging to David how much easier he has made this. Now, there will be another step or two. If you have a deceased relative, you're going to have to go through the same process you would, such as maybe providing a certificate or showing that you're the legal holder, given that it was somebody else's that's transferred to you. They're going to go by the legal process. But if you have something in your name, it literally takes 2 minutes. It's nothing to it. So go check, put your name in, and if you have unclaimed property out there, take the 2 or 3 minutes and just roll with it. It took 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Way different than before. So I wanted to commend them on how they've made it so much easier for us citizenry to go out there and get that property.
There we go. I've got, there are 4 that are there.
Yeah, I had 3.
One that is over $100, one that is under $100. My daughter has one that says over $100, and there's another one under $100. I got to do it.
Yeah, got to. And it took 2 or 3 minutes at most. You could sit at a traffic light in most cases and do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but that's the time frame in which it takes to do it. It was very simple. So. And Nathan in Smith County lets us know that a bacon salad does not count. So you can't use that in your diet, a bacon salad.
Good plan.
Yeah.
All right. So he's off on the bacon as well. I woke, and perhaps you did too, if you get news alerts on your phone, to an alert this morning, that the Senate passed $9 billion in cuts to global aid, public broadcasting, and other things in a win for the president. They voted early Thursday morning, that is today, in the overnight hours, to claw back $9 billion in federal funding for global aid programs, primarily USAID, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Send the package requested by President Trump to the House for a final vote. The vote was 51-48 on what is known as a rescissions package. It's a victory for the president, who has vowed to shrink the size of the federal government and who has come under fire from Democrats for adding a projected $3.3 trillion to the debt over the next decade by signing his one big, beautiful bill. Signed that into law earlier this month. Senators finally passed the package a little after 2 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, after voting for more than 12 hours on amendments. The Hill writes that the win is more symbolic than anything, as it would only cut 0.1% from the federal budget, which is not significant. But I've said, as we've talked about these cuts, it's not any of the cuts just on their own, but it's the cumulative effect. And so, if you get 0.1% here and 0.2% there, and you start adding those things up, you're talking about real money. Republicans see it as progress. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said it's a small but important step toward fiscal sanity that we all should be able to agree is long overdue. Now, Trump wanted a $15 billion rescissions package passed during his first term after Senate Republicans balked at the proposal. This time around, Trump is working with a bigger Senate Republican majority, a GOP conference that is generally more amenable to this agenda his agenda than it was 7 years ago. Susan Collins, who is the Senate Appropriations Committee chair, and Senator Lisa Murkowski, the chair of the Interior Appropriations Subcommittees, they both opposed the packages. Oh, for the days of Thad Cochran as the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Mitch McConnell also voted no. He is the chair of the Defense Appropriation Subcommittee. He voted no on a couple of procedural votes, but he did vote in favor of final passage. Democrats were missing one of their members, Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota, who was hospitalized after not feeling well. Susan Collins, on several occasions before the final vote, raised concerns about what she saw in the White House's failure to offer sufficient details about how the funding rescissions would be implemented. She raised that issue directly with the Office of Management and Budget. That's Russ Vaught as the director there. Republican leaders lined up the votes after the White House agreed to an amendment to remove the package, remove from the package $400 million in cuts to the PEPFAR Global Anti-AIDS Initiative that was launched more than 20 years ago by President George W. Bush. So, saving that money or leaving that money in the package was a priority for a number of senators. So, there you go. $1 billion going to be cut from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. That could hit rural radio stations that depend more on federal funding and some of their big city counterparts. NPR, I guess, would fall into that. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana said, I hope the administration keeps sending us rescissions packages. That's the only way I can see us reducing spending. Catherine Marr, the CEO of NPR, National Public Radio, has continued to say that if you can find a story of ours that is partisan in nature, we want to know about it. Our news team wants to know about it. And then John Kennedy went to the lectern with big poster boards highlighting some of the stories that NPR had done that were partisan in nature, as he is wont to do on a regular basis. He keeps a lot of receipts. So the $9 billion rescission package now goes to the House. We'll see what kind of opposition it is up against there in the days to come. Did you see yesterday the president was trumpeting a change to Coca-Cola, getting rid of the high fructose corn syrup and returning to real cane sugar. Some people call that Mexican Coke, which is still popular in a lot of places.
I love the pure cane.
Brian Hadad points out to me that actually is going to be America Coke now. It's not going to be Mexican Coke anymore. Coca-Cola. I feel like I should probably say Coca-Cola and not just stop at Coke.
El Chapo. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we talked about him earlier this morning. So Donald Trump, who's a big Diet Coke guy, seemed to be really excited about that. So there you go. The aforementioned Brian Hadad will join me coming up next. We will kind of wrap things up for Mornings with Richard Cross in terms of coverage of SEC Media Days. Mississippi State was here. Brian yesterday had a chance to sit down for a one-on-one conversation with Jeff Lebby. If you missed that, it is available online at supertalk.fm. You can grab podcasts from the coverage all week long, a ton of interviews. I don't know, maybe 30 of them over the course of the last handful of days, covering all the different angles of SEC football, as we're now just 6 weeks from Saturday to the first full opening Saturday of the college football season. More Mornings with Richard Cross right after this with you.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Good morning, everybody. Time to wake up.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
President Trump said Coca-Cola agreed to use cane sugar in its namesake soda following criticism of sweeteners such as high fructose corn syrup by Trump's health secretary. Trump said, I have been speaking to Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in Coke.
You want me to read it?
In the United States, and they have agreed to do so. This will be a very good move for them. You'll see it's just better. A Coca-Cola spokeswoman said the company appreciated Trump's enthusiasm for its brand. Quote, more details on new innovative offerings within our Coca-Cola product range will be shared soon, close quote. I feel like this is a story that is in your wheelhouse.
It would have been a couple of years ago. Now Coke Zero.
Coke Zero.
Yeah, it's not the same. They don't put any sugar in that.
Well, but they'll use the same cane sugar in that they
can't
use
cane
in the other.
Sugar in that. It's sugar free.
I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, they can't.
So they're going to change to cane sugar for that as well.
Well, how's that going to affect the calories?
It's not.
Are you sure?
It's not going to change anything.
People say that all the time. So I was interested when you sat me down here. I was going to sit down over there, and you're like, no, over here. I thought you'd want to be on the left.
No. Felt like a better place for you.
Okay, you sure?
Although on the screen, I guess you are.
I guess on the screen, yeah. And also it said start your mornings the right way, and I was like, are we sure? With Richard Cross.
Well, now that you're here?
Yeah. Fair and balanced.
Glad to be with you. We are broadcasting from SEC Media Days in Atlanta, Georgia. We brought you one little sports interview each morning of the week. Yesterday, Mississippi State was here on day 3 of
Brian Hadad,
Media Days. Brian Hadad, co-host of Sports Talk Mississippi and host of the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Michael Borky sitting off here to the side as well, also a co-host of Sports Talk Mississippi and host of the Rebel Report podcast.
That's right.
If you want Mississippi State or Ole Miss information, those are the places that we recommend you go. You can get them delivered to your podcast inbox, and it costs you $0.
That's right. It's free.
Well done. You sat down with Jeff Lebby yesterday, with Blake Shapen, with Isaac Smith, with Brennan Thompson. What did you learn yesterday?
Man, I love the what did you learn question. I love it so much.
Did you learn anything?
No, I didn't learn anything. So,
well, then what did they say for people that perhaps didn't?
So I think that if you're going to gain something, if you did learn something, it's that it's twofold. It's Mississippi State knows that this season is going to be an incredible challenge. They know how difficult their schedule is. They know what their roster looks like. They know that every step of the way is going to be tough.
Yeah.
The second thing you learned is they are ready for the challenge. They're ready to face it head on, and results be darned, they are going to go out there every game and fight as hard as they can. They know what's in front of them. They're not. I don't think they're afraid. They're not shirking the challenge, but they know it's going to be one. They know it's not going to be an easy season by any means.
No disrespect intended when I say this. There are years where the season opener. No, I'm serious. There are years where the season opener, a game between Mississippi State and Southern Miss, would just be another game on the schedule, right? It would not be one that
it would be a gimme game.
Was creating anxiety,
right?
Creating nervousness among fans. That does not appear to be the case going into this season for a lot of reasons.
Well, the main reason is when you lose to Toledo by 24 points in your own home stadium, you don't get to call anybody a gimme game anymore. Alcorn, okay, it's an FCS team. You'll beat them easily. Everybody else on the schedule for Mississippi State is a challenge. And that
going to host a Northern Illinois team that beat Notre Dame a year ago.
Exactly. So, if I were to say that Southern Mississippi is the second or third easiest game on the schedule, it is. But that doesn't mean that it's an easy game.
Right.
Mississippi State would have lost to Marshall a season ago. And now Marshall's coach is at Southern Mississippi. 25, I think, of Marshall's players are at Southern Mississippi. And they're ready to play. And that program is going to take a big step forward this year. I don't have a whole lot of doubt about that. It's going to be a real challenge for Mississippi State down in Hattiesburg. If they answer that challenge and they win that game the way you would expect an SEC team to beat a Sun Belt team, then that's a great sign for the rest of the season. If they go down there and they can somehow win that game, hypothetically, 38-10 or something like that, which would be a score that would have happened 8-9 years ago if these two teams had played. That's great. You go down there and you win 31-28, or God forbid you lose, it's going to be a long, long year and start.
Well, and it would take so much air out of the balloon right out of the gate.
There's not a lot of air in the balloon as it started. The balloon is at best half full.
Well, I get that, but there's always this kind of hope springs eternal, hey, let's see how it plays out thing.
Yeah, especially as you get
and you just don't want, before you even turn the calendar to September, to have people be like, here we go again.
Yeah, it could be you could be sitting there on 2 o'clock.
Because if Mississippi State wins against Southern Miss in the season opener, they come home and they've got, is it Alcorn and then Arizona State? Or Arizona State's week 2.
Yeah.
So it's an Arizona State team that 2 years ago was bad. Last year they made an incredible turnaround. They end up being a college football playoff team.
Right.
Mississippi State fell behind early in that game, kind of made it competitive late. And then you got an Alcorn State game and an opportunity to feel pretty good, kind of moving toward SEC play.
Yeah, State's in the situation. I think Ole Miss's last year were their first 4 games to non-conference. So obviously different situations, but Ole Miss had a ton of confidence at the end of those 4 games. Now, was it misplaced or not? I don't know. But for State, they desperately need that. If they could somehow be 4-0 when they host Tennessee, I'm not saying they would beat Tennessee, but I'm saying you would have a huge crowd in Starkville.
Right.
And people would be bought back in. So
be big energy.
That's a good way to put it. So, but it starts with that game in Hattiesburg. You know, Levy and all the players. Most players nowadays are all about 1-0, right? We're worried about week 1. We don't look ahead. That is a smart thing for Mississippi State right now. They need to be focused entirely on Southern Mississippi, and they'll worry about Arizona State when they get there.
And when you look at the non-conference schedule this year for Mississippi State, you see the importance of having success in the non-conference because the league slate, there is nothing easy about it.
I said this yesterday on one of the interviews I did. If you're just a college football fan, get a Mississippi State season ticket. You'll see some good teams. You're going to see Texas. You're going to see Georgia. You're going to see Tennessee. You're going to see Arizona State. You're going to see Ole Miss. Those are all really good football teams coming to Starkville. But Mississippi State fans, unfortunately, you have to watch your team play them, and that's going to be a very difficult task.
You had a chance to visit with Blake Shapen. Yeah. Started the season well a year ago. Put up good numbers. He was he gave the offense life. Michael Van Buren moves into the starter role after Blake Shapen is out for the year. He's no longer with the program.
Right.
He is now a backup to Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. But Blake Shapen is back, and I was struck as some people were listening to Sports Talk Mississippi. We're listening to your conversation with Blake Shapen yesterday. You had some people that were like, I'm really not a Mississippi State fan, but, man, I like that guy.
He's a good guy. I mean, he comes across the right way. He is really an extension of Levy. I will be surprised if Shapen doesn't go into the pros and it doesn't have any kind of NFL career, and even if he does, that's a guy that 10, 15 years from now might be a coach. He just has the right temperament for it. When Levy opens or when Shapen opens his mouth, Levy's voice comes out of it.
Yeah,
you know they're both very coach speaky. They both know how to answer questions. I don't know if media savvy is the right word or not, but he's not going to give you a wrong answer. He's not going to draw up any controversy. Smart kid. And I think he's got his head on straight. It's just about the rest of the body staying straight this year.
Brendan Thompson is a wide receiver that was here with Mississippi State yesterday. He is a mature young man transferred in from Oklahoma.
Married.
What is exactly what's the expectation for Brendan Thompson in the receiving corps?
You know, I asked him. I said, you know, your position coach is the all-time record holder for single season touchdown catches, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to break his record this year.
Oh.
So, he is a guy that can get the ball deep down the field. He is a speed guy. Now, he's going to play on the outside. He's a guy that you would think would be more of a traditional slot receiver, but in Levy's offense, he likes to have that burner on the outside, and that's where Thompson's going to be.
And a year ago, that guy was who?
Yeah, it's interesting. Last year, that guy was Kevin Coleman, but he was in the slot. So last year, that guy was Mario Craver in this offense.
Yeah.
And Craver, you know, you saw some of those flashes of that. This guy is a faster Mario Craver. Now, I don't know if he'll be as productive, but just if they ran a race, Thompson would win.
I remember a year and a half ago doing the Mississippi State spring game, I walked away impressed with Kevin Coleman. And for good reason. He ended up having a really good season for Mississippi State, but he's no longer with the team.
Right. Yeah, that was a big loss for State. There's no getting around that.
Was that one a surprise?
Yes. Yes, they did not want to lose him, but they did. Yeah. And there's a lot of talk that Kevin Coleman and Luther Burden didn't get along. So he wanted to transfer to Missouri, but Missouri's like, we can't.
Probably not a good plan.
Now that Luther's gone, you're good to go.
So he will be at Missouri this year.
Yeah.
Final day of coverage from SEC Media Days. Kentucky's here, Missouri's here, Texas A&M, Arkansas is here. What can people expect on the show this afternoon?
We've got some great stuff lined up for you. We're scheduled to talk with Ross Dellinger and Ben Portnoy. It's a Richard Cross, Michael Borky bonanza of sports business today. Plus my interview, I guess we'll go ahead and let everybody know, with former WWE superstar, former world champion Mark Henry, who was here covering the Texas Longhorns earlier.
You're so fired up about
when
that.
I saw him across the room, I was like, it can't be. But it was. I got the chance to sit down with him. I had a lot of fun with that interview. I hope you guys will as well.
And more talk about the teams that are here today
I'll change clothes before the show. I'll put on a Gentile shirt.
Well, that would be wonderful.
All right.
Thank you. But you got up early with us, and we appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
Mornings with Richard Cross, half an hour left with you on this Thursday. We're back right after this.
Start your day right.
Good morning, America. How are you?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Not 100% sure how to characterize the discord that exists right now. Is there discord within the Republican Party because of Donald Trump's handling of the Epstein fiasco? Is it discord within the MAGA movement? Is it discord within the online MAGA influencers who think that they were sold a bill of goods? Or is it much ado about nothing? For the answer to this question, or at least one answer to this question, we go to, of all places, Lance, CNN. They have a pollster. You know, you have these surveys that are just constantly happening where you're reaching out to people and asking them questions about how they think the president is doing on this and that, and they come out with percentage and approval ratings and all those things. So let's go to CNN. This is with their analyst on polling numbers and approval ratings. This is perhaps a little eye-opening.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all of these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down, Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% were Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not.
So that's surprising to me. I don't know if it's surprising to you or not, because if you believe that social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, etc., Snapchat, I guess, are the real world and are reflective of the population writ large, then you're really, really concerned right now if you're a Donald Trump supporter, because it feels like the world is coming to an end. There's so much disagreement on what should happen or what has happened with regard to the release of all of the information from the Epstein files. But CNN told us right there, and the pollster himself said, this is surprising. CNN ran a poll themselves. This is approval rating among Republicans prior to the release of the most, or kind of the Epstein saga becoming mainstream just in the last week. Donald Trump's approval rating among Republicans was at 86%. The poll they ran this week, it's at 88%. And then he went to the Quinnipiac poll. It's gone from 87% to 90%, which is probably a reminder to all of us that the social media echo chamber is not the same thing as Republican voters in Senatobia. in Dyersburg, Tennessee, in Kennett, Missouri, in Ballantine, North Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, are there people who are glued to every single word that comes out of the mouth of Charlie Kirk or Dinesh Sousa or Tucker Carlson or Eric Daugherty or just the Dan Bunn? Well, he's not on. He's otherwise occupied right now. Yeah, there are. And there are a lot of people that are reacting. And I'll be honest with you, as I sit here and look at it, I think every time Donald Trump says something about the Epstein file, it feels like he digs the hole a little bit deeper. Because there has not been a consistent, cohesive answer. During the campaign time, it was, we're going to release all the names, we're going to get this all out there. Now it's, well, it was kind of a hoax.
And I'm curious, what in terms of, I've tried to find what is the hoax. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the president. I'm sure they have a lot more information than I have. But
here's the hoax. The hoax that he is purporting is that the Epstein files did not name him in their original iteration, and he's pointing to the things that have been fabricated by Democrats, whether you're talking about the Russia hoax. I love that that's how we have named this. Or the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, or the Steele dossier with Hillary Clinton and all of those things. There was information that was created that was not true in those things. And I think Donald Trump is preparing people that, okay, if we release more of this and his name is in it, that's something that is new, that has been doctored. Those are files that are... I think that is the hoax that he is purporting.
I was having a hard time reading between the lines. I didn't know exactly if he was responding to
Beck,
the... Yeah.
I mean, Glenn Beck kind of explored this in a kind of an online monologue that he did yesterday. It was about 10 minutes long, and I watched most of it, and he said, look, there are 4 or 5 different outcomes that you can look at as to what's going on and why is this going on. And he kind of explained that, and some others have as well, that when he says a hoax and something that's been created by Democrats, and the reason you would even ask that question is why has the message changed from Democrats? They have not wanted that list. And in my mind, I'm using air quotes. Because people say the Epstein list, the Epstein list, the Epstein list. I don't know that there actually is a list. I don't know that you can point to an Excel spreadsheet where Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and I know I'm not pronouncing her name right, but I'm just going to continue to do it that way, where they were going and they were entering, all right, this person on this date, these were the travel plans, it doesn't exist. Is there a black book? Maybe, maybe not. Is it scattered papers where you've got some information? Is it flight log? I mean, clearly there is evidence. There's information there.
Well, on the other side, you also have
But is there a quote-unquote list? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I would imagine if there is, it's going to be held by, more than just Epstein, whoever he was providing the information to. There's no way that he's sitting there on a treasure trove of black books.
Yeah, I mean, think about how long this has been going on. And I forgive me for not being able to credit this, but I saw somebody that brought up chain of custody. Mm-hmm. Right, when you're talking about documents in a court case, there is supposed to be a very clear chain of custody to make sure that you know where evidence has been, who has had access to it. I mean, how many thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of people have had access to this evidentiary material over the course of the last decade?
And that's the point I was trying to make the other day was that, if you have all this information, you've got to confirm it. I mean, there is a process of vetting evidence, and I sent you a link of that today, which is extremely detailed. The chain of custody being a huge piece of that. So if you've had 100 people or 50 people or 20 people touching that information, then what is the can you verify any of it? And I guess that's kind of where I was going the other day is, you may have a whole treasure trove of info, but who all has had their hands on it? You got to confirm that.
It's a reasonable question. CNN provides us some great content from time to time.
Hey, I've been surprised at CNN since about January. They've really kind of turned a new leaf. They've seemingly tried to report things a little bit more center line. Not everything, but I've definitely seen some bit of a shift.
Well, and some of that is because of Scott Jennings. How about this? There was this yesterday. This was Abby Phillips. She hosts that show that Scott Jennings is on. And she talks about the gerrymandering conversation, right? We were talking about the redistricting in Texas that Trump was pushing. We had the Gavin Newsom story, Punchbowl saying that California is going to go after 5 to 7 additional Democrat seats if Texas goes down the road of redistricting. They were discussing just that, and it starts out with Abby Phillips. Here you go.
So what does it signify that Republicans ahead of the midterms believe that it's going to be so necessary to get an upper hand that they have to actually redraw an entire state's congressional maps in order to get 5 whole seats out of it?
Well, probably the same thing that it signifies when they did it in Illinois and got a 14-3 delegation for D's. Maryland 7-1, Massachusetts 9-0. We know what happened here in New York, California. Even though they have a commission, we all know what goes on there.
In a mid-cycle specifically, are all of those cases in mid-cycles?
All of these cases are where Democrats use the power they have to give them an advantage.
But just to be clear, because I didn't do the research that you did in the break here, is it that they're changing it after the actual census process where you're supposed to you're supposed to go through the congressional redistricting process?
Does it matter?
Yes, it very much. I think that's the whole point.
Everybody says, yes, it matters when it happens. Now, it is a little odd that you're looking at, in the middle of a census year, redrawing some of those district lines. Not odd. Republicans are trying to take advantage where they believe they can take advantage. Thought that was fairly stunning when she was like, hey, what does this mean? And he's like, it means the same thing that it meant when Illinois did it and Massachusetts did it and New York did it. There's another state that he referenced there. And she's like, well, I didn't do the research that you did during the break. Oh, really? We never could have guessed. We'll wrap it up with you coming up next.
From the Venable Glass.
Good morning. Good morning to you there.
Okay, up and at 'em. Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
This is our last segment of the week from Atlanta, Georgia. Been here at SEC Media Days. Some double duty this week with Sports Talk Mississippi in the afternoon. Michael Borky and Brian Hadad have led the way with Sports Talk, and they've let me kind of tag along. It's been a fun week at SEC Media Days. We're getting close to the start of the college football season. We appreciate all of the partners that have made coverage of SEC Media Days possible throughout the week. Our coverage has been presented by Pearl River Resort. You know about our friends at Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Brought to you also by Trustmark Bank, Cannon Ford Lincoln in Cleveland, and all of their Cannon Ford Lincoln locations, Covington County Hospital, Mississippi Farm Bureau, and Gentile. So thanks to all of them. Thanks to the local sponsors as well that have made the coverage possible throughout the course of the week. Lance, I have got something for you here. Now, you know a lot about a lot, and so it is possible that this is not news to you. I told Michael Borky I had something here that was going to blow his mind. I'm going to play a clip from you for you that I found on X last night. We'll talk about it on the backside. This is a guy that is doing some shopping at Costco.
Hi, everybody. I am at Costco today, getting a bunch of stuff that I don't need, but I do need some coffee. So I'm looking at my choices. We have a Starbucks choice, right? Pike Place Market. Here's another Starbucks choice, Verona, Starbucks. But is it actually a Starbucks? No.
What?
It's actually Nestle's coffee using Starbucks trademark under license.
Did you know that the Starbucks coffee, and look, you may not be a Starbucks fan, whether it's out of principle or out of you just don't like their coffee flavors. Whether you're talking about going to the store or buying Starbucks coffee in the grocery store. Our Gevalia is the flavor that we have decided on at home. That's what we primarily get. I'll occasionally get a Starbucks blend. Maybe you're a Black Rifle Coffee Company person. Maybe you have a local coffee that you prefer. Our friends in Starkville, Strange Brew, they ship their coffee all over the place. Maybe Strange Brew is what you order and you put in your own coffee pot. But did you know, if you buy Starbucks coffee at the grocery store, you know, where you buy a pound of coffee or a 2-pound bag of coffee and then you brew it yourself at home, it's not actually Starbucks. It is only a licensing agreement with Nestle. I had no idea.
Seems a little disingenuous, but hey, you know, the way I have a 2013 FJ.
It's on the packaging. It does say Nestle uses Starbucks trademarks under license.
So you're paying for Starbucks prices for Nestle's coffee. Gotcha. Thank you.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So it's not the exact same beans. It is not the exact same flavor profile. It's close, but it's not exactly the same. And that's why if you brew it at home, perhaps I like the blonde roast, the Veranda. I think they've got a new blonde roast that's pretty good as well.
Yeah, blonde has actually got more caffeine in it.
Yeah.
Well, I got a 2013.
Maybe that's why I like it.
Yeah, I got a 2013 FJ Cruiser, so I just take the coffee cup out, turn the car on, put the coffee cup under the oil pan, and that's my
motor oil.
Yeah, that's the way I like to roll.
I understand.
A little dash of sugar in there to just.
Did you know
cut
that
it.
though?
No, I didn't know. I knew that there were products like that, but I didn't know Starbucks was fine printing it. You know.
I thought that Starbucks, in addition to making it available to you in their stores, they packaged their coffee and shipped it out and wholesaled it, and you could, make it at home. Apparently not. Apparently it's just a licensing agreement. You can use our logo, but you go make the coffee on your own, and that's what Nestle has been doing.
I wonder what it would cost if it was just Nestle, though, rather than Starbucks. Would it be cheaper? Or is that a way that they've been able to kind of milk a little bit more money out of the consumer,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You think would you be paying $19.99 for a bag of Nestle coffee?
No.
I mean, their coffee is fine, I guess. But
yeah, but it's not what you would consider upper crust, right? It's not the highbrow coffee.
Cece in Senatobia says, it's fun to go to Taco Bell and ask for McDonald's coffee. Mose says coffee is coffee. We get Folgers or Maxwell House. Nothing wrong with that at all.
I'm not a big freeze-dried Crystal fan, but, yeah, in a pinch, it works just fine.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have any other options and Folgers is what you've got, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Somebody says that must be why Starbucks at Kroger is better than Starbucks at the Starbucks store. Possibly.
You may know how to make coffee better than the people at Starbucks, too.
Also possible. So a little bit of myth busting as we wrap things up. Somebody says Dunkin' retail coffee is made by Smuckers.
Really?
Buy the bag in the Dunkin' at the Dunkin' Donuts store, and you get legit Dunkin' coffee. Ooh, I wonder what if you buy a pound of coffee in the sack in a Starbucks store, if they sell the Nestle or if it's actually Starbucks. I'm gonna do a little investigative reporting on that. Thanks for being with us. Have a great Thursday. See you, Lance.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.